Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, from wherever we are joining from. Just let me know if you can hear me. Just to do audio check, everybody. In the studio and on YouTube, let me show that we can all hear me. So everybody on YouTube, please help me drop a comment. If you can hear me, just say you can hear me. Yeah, Faith, thank you. So let's check people on YouTube to be sure that they can hear us as well. Yeah, please, if you can hear me, just say hi. You can hear me. And also, Faith, can you see my screen? Is my screen? Am I sharing my screen? Okay. Good evening. We can hear you. All right. Okay. I think those on YouTube also can hear me as well. Okay. Okay. I just want to be sure. Am I sharing my screen? Can you see my screen? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. So, good evening once again. Good afternoon from wherever we are joining again from. So today we'll continue our journey, our data engineering journey, and this week we started talking about data warehousing, and yesterday we talked about. Yeah. Okay. We can see my screen. Thank you. So yesterday we talked about some data warehousing concepts. We talked about OLTP. We talked about whole lab system. We talk about dimensional modeling. We talk about foreign key, primary key. We talk about schemas, right? The type of model that we have, the star schemas, the star schemas, the snowflake schemas. Those are the type of data model that we have within the Power BI. Sorry, I said Power BI within the data engineering, right? So we did the data engineering, and also for Power BI as well, right? You still have to use the same model system as well. You use the same model system as well. So it's all the same. So and I believe that yesterday we are able to master some of the things that we talk, and we will be able to implement them whenever we are practicing. Right? We talk about warehousing, the types of the most common data warehousing platform, the Amazon Redshift, the Snowflake, Google BigQuery, Microsoft Fabric or Microsoft Synapse, right? We talked about all this yesterday. We talk about OLTP, whole app system, right? We talk about the whole app OLTP system. We also talk about normalization and denormalization, right? We talk about normalization and denormalization. And what else did we talk about yesterday? Just trying to go over what we did yesterday so that, you know, um, we can catch up. Okay, so also we talk about dimensional modeling, right? Where we talk about fact tables. We talk about fact tables are what? They contains quantity, they contains KPIs, they contains measurable data. Mostly your fact table contains your it contains values. They are mostly values that you will find mostly in your fact table. And your dimension tables is your what? Is your descriptive. They are like your customer information, your product information, your customer location as well, where your customer region, where your customer are based in, right? Also, we also mentioned database normalization. We talk about normalization and denormalization. We talk about normalization is very, very key in data warehousing because normalization reduces a lot of noises around your data. It eliminates errors and anomalies. It simplifies your queries for you. When you normalize your data, you will see that you will even get a better result, on the long run. So whenever you are working with a normalized database, we also talk about different normalization form. We have the one NF, the two NF, and we have the third NF. So I explained the different type of this NF yesterday, and we are just trying to go over them, trying to run through them again now. So please, if you did not join the yesterday section, please make sure that you watch yesterday session, because we are continuing from where we stopped yesterday. We talked about this number NF yesterday, so make sure you go over it again. Okay, so we also talk about fat and dimension. I think I mentioned that already. Fat and dimension, your dimension table contains your unique record, while your fat tables can contain a duplicate record, because that is your transactions. And whenever you have a transaction, you can make transaction more than once. So that is why your fat table contains a duplicate record. And primary keys and foreign key, these are key elements in fat and dimension. You will always find your primary Faith, please, can you hear me? Just to be sure. Okay, you can hear me. All right, thank you. All right, okay, all right, thank you. All right, so let's continue. So we talk about primary keys and foreign key, which are key elements. All right, thank you. So we talk primary keys and foreign key, which are key elements in your dimension tables and your fact table as well. So they are very, 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 very important, right? They are very, very important. So we also talk about normalization. We talk about that already. Star schemas, the two type of models that we have in warehouse architecture. The most common one, right? The star schemas and the snowflake schema. And I mentioned yesterday that a star schema model is where all your dimension tables are connected directly to your fact table, where all your dimension tables are connected to your fat tables. And when we have a snowflake schema, the snowflake schema is an extension of your star schema. The snowflake schema is an extension of your star schema. Okay, so then we talk about takeaways and things you need to put into consideration when you are building your data warehouse. Then we did a demo session yesterday where I think we are able to create the demo, but we I guess the fat table was not unable to create, and I think I later figured out what the challenge is. So we'll quickly just run the query again. We'll quickly run the query again. I'll just run the query once. I won't do it, and I've shared the script with you guys as well. So you can make use of the script if you want to practice along. So you can also try. So I've sent the script to you. I think you can find the script on the LMS system. I checked the LMS system this morning and I can see that the script is already uploaded here. So please make sure that you download it. And another thing that I would like to point out is that for you to run the script, you have to run it on SQL Server. Don't run it on other RDBMS. If you want to run it on another RDBMS, you might have to edit. You might have to edit some things within that script. Yeah. So, but you have to use the SQL Server to be able to run the script. So, if you want to use maybe MySQL, Postgres, or any other system to run it, you might have to do some editing there, which you can use any AI to edit it to give you the equivalent of the scripts in other studio that you might want to use. So I'm not going to do it one after the other the way I did it yesterday, because we already did everything. I think the only part that we missed out. Okay, maybe I will not run here. So let me just let me comment this out. So let me comment this out. So please let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see my studio? Just to be sure you can see my studio. Please, can you see my studio? Okay. Okay, Faith, thank you. All right. All right. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Okay, so we'll just run the script. So now, like I said, you can find this script on the LMS system as well. How it has been uploaded there, so you can check it there, and in case you want to try it. And like I said earlier, don't try it when you are not using SQL. If you're only for people that are using SQL Server that can run the script exactly the way I'm running it now. For those that are not using SQL Server, you might have to do some data. You might have to edit it to be able to suit in whatever system you are using. So let's execute this. So let's execute it. So now you can see everything is successful, right? Everything is successful. So I just have to run the script once, and it's successful. So the fact table that was unable to show yesterday, so you can see now, the fact table is you can see now we have 25,000. We have 25,000 record here. So you can see we have 25,000 record here. So so that is that. So if you go to your table, just refresh from here. Just refresh. Just in case that does not show. So just refresh here. Just refresh here. So you can see the database, sales DW. So if you view it, you'll see all the tables that we created. So you can see category, customer, date, products, and store, facts. So you can see all the tables, right? So then from there, if you want to start answering questions around, whatever you want to do with that database you created, you can start answering your questions and or run your query. So that is that about what we did yesterday. I believe I've summarized everything in a very short while. In a very short, yeah. So let's start with the business of today, of the day rather. So today we want to look at mistake. So today we want to look at data transformation. So how do you transform data as a data engineer? Because SQL is one of the most important language, right? SQL is one of the most important language in data warehouse. In as a data engineer, you will use SQL a lot. I think even whether you are using on-prem, whether you are using cloud environment, you will use SQL a lot, rather. So even if you are on any platform that you found yourself, whether you find yourself on AWS, GCP, Azure, Fabric, or any platform, Databricks, any platform that you find yourself as a data engineer, you are going to use SQL. So SQL is a fundamental, is very, very, very important. And I think one of your roles as a data engineer is to clean data. You have to, because that is exactly the bulk of your work is to ingest data, extraction, and transform the data, then load the data for your data analyst to start using them. So the bulk of your work, after you ingest your data, right, you have to transform the data. So we want to look at, at least maybe fundamentals. Okay, even when we say data transformation, what does it even mean? What does, for throughout last week, we didn't do anything data transformation. We are just running queries, showing you things and there, right? We didn't do any type of cleaning. So we want to show you how to clean data with SQL, so that when you move on to the second part of this section, which is where you are going to be using Python, at least you are also going to be cleaning data with Python as well, right? So, but let's see how you can clean data with SQL today. All right. So so in ETL pipeline, in ETL pipeline, or in data engineering, right? So majorly there is so depending on the organization that you're working with, so there are some architectural workflow that some companies adopted. So they might tell you to, I think the major architecture that a lot of people use is the medallion architecture. What I call it? The medallion architecture. So please, if you hear that medallion architecture, just type it on the chat. So I think the most popular one is the medallion architecture. I just want to quickly check something. Medallion architecture, that's the name. So I think that's the most popular architectural data engineering that I think I know of as at now. That's the most popular architectural data engineer, like the major one that I can, that a lot of people use, a lot of companies use it as well. So let me see. Let me just show you. Okay, I think. Okay, so I just want to quickly show you the architectural diagram. Okay, I think I saw. Okay, does the person draw it up on here? Okay. Okay. I don't really get what. Well, okay. Maybe I will just manage this. I will manage it the way it is here. So, so the medallion architectures, how it works is that, or what does the architecture says is that we have three layers. Hmm? So the first layer is the bronze layer. So I'll just use these articles to. I didn't even know that I will come across this. This is the one that we'll use. I just want to show you online anyway. So we are going to be using this one. So we have the bronze layer, the silver layer, and the gold layer. So the bronze layer is your landing zone, right? Is your landing zone where your data is going to be landing, right? So as data is coming into your data, so you'll be hearing the word data lake, but in our own environment now, we are not using data lake at the moment. So, but you are still going to experience this. The experience is almost the same thing. It's just for you to understand the concept very well, right? So we have what they call the medallion architecture. So the medallion architecture says that we have different layers. We have the bronze layer, silver layer, and the gold layer. What do you do in the bronze layer? The bronze layer is the first layer, and the bronze layer is where data land into. That's the first point. When you ingest your data land into the bronze layer. Then you move your data from the bronze layer to the silver layer to go and clean it. So this is where transformation happens in the silver layer. And when we talk about transformation, what are transformation? It can be that, the business wants you to probably you might even want to claim. Maybe the data type is not correct. Maybe you are supposed to change from a varchar to a column, to a date column, or maybe you want to concatenate, you want to merge a columns together. You do it in the silver layer, right? So you clean your data. After you clean the data, you now move it to the gold layer. So this gold layer is where business logic is going to be applied, right? So the gold layer is where business logic is going to be applied, where maybe your stakeholders say that, they want to see top 10 customer, they want to see top 5 customer. So you have to do the aggregations, you have to create your that layer. So the gold layer is more of like the business logic, right? You are answering questions so that you create it the way the business wants it, and your data analyst will connect to your gold layer. So this gold layer is now what your data analyst is going to connect to, and I think this is one of the most simplest architectural workflow. I think you can just come here and come and read. I can probably copy this link for you guys, so you can come and read these articles around this medallion architecture. I'm sure that this is actually a nice write-up already, because with what I'm even seeing, the person have used a lot of architectural work frame that I also adopted. He uses Databricks, he uses data lake here, he uses Azure Sina, Azure Data Factory, and all. So, but later on, we are still going to expose you to some of these environments as well as we move on later on. So, but the essence of coming here is just to show you the modern data architecture that a lot of companies use. You will be hearing it a lot, medallion architecture. So, and when you hear medallion architecture, it's just how to organize your workflow. You have your bronze layer, where your data is first ingested. You have your silver layer where you do your data transformation. Then you have your gold layer where you where you answer business questions, or where you apply business logic, right? So just to be sure that those on YouTube are still with me, let's type medallion architecture on the chat, just to be sure that we are still together. So let's type medallion architecture on the chat. So like I said, medallion architecture is one of the most famous architectural work frame in data engineering. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me get our response before I can move on. Let me get our response from those on YouTube. So let me get our response. All right. Okay. I think it's coming in. All right. I think, yeah, comments are coming in. All right. All right. Okay. So the medallion architecture, like I said, is one of the modern architectural work frame, right? So I think most of the time, whenever I'm doing a project, even as small as the project is, I always want to adopt that methodology, like that work frame work as well. Like, oh, have your have different layers, right? So we're going to be using that same approach, right? It might not be on the broader way, or maybe the way the normal architecture workflow will be when you go to the big organization. But when you understand the approach here, so when you move to the bigger, maybe you are working in enterprise, or when we move to the part where we are going to be doing projects, or I think week 7 we'll talk about those cloud environment, and you will see what I'm talking about. So we're going to be using the same approach here in our process here now. So we are going to be creating, you can see what we have, the staging layer, the transformation, the production. You see what so what is here is exactly the medallion architecture. Even though it is not simple, we did not put it here that, oh, this is medallion architecture. But what we have here is exactly what the medallion architecture also talk about. So we have the staging layer, the transformation layer, and the production layer, right? So the production layer is what? Is your gold layer. The transformation layer is what? Is your silver layer. The staging layer here is what? Is your what? Is your bronze layer. Do you understand? So we're also going to be using that same approach as well. So without wasting much of our time, we'll just move on to the transformation. So let's move into the let's go to our studio. So on our studio, we're going to create. So let's create a new database. So I'm going to say create database. So I'll call it the Incubator. Then let's use the Incubator. Okay, I think it's not really necessary, but okay, we're still going to use it. Use the Incubator. Okay. All right. So now let me refresh. So let's refresh from here. Then I will click on the Incubator. So we want to ingest our data. So because we are still using the on-prem environment, so we are going to be using the manual process to ingest the data, or the manual way to extract our data from our local system. So I'm going to ingest your data. So I'm going to right click the database that I just created. Then I will go to task. Then I'll click on import flat file. Let's expand this wizard. So let's click on next. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, I made a mistake. Yeah. So before I do that, we need to do something. We need to create. So let's create our schema. So let's create a schema here. So we want to create a schema. So we want to create schema staging. So we're going to create a schema called staging. We're going to create another schema called development. Then we're going to create another schema called production, which is prod. We're creating another schema called what? Prod. Now, so these schemas are the layers that we want to use in our workframe. Just like I said, the bronze layer, the silver layer, and the gold layer. So so if you want to check the schema that you created, just refresh, then come to your database. If you go to your security, you go to your schema, you can see the dev, the staging, and the prod. So you can see the what? The dev, the prod, and the staging. So that's the three schema that I just created now. So now let's continue. Now I'm going to right click my database. I will right click my database. So let's right click. So when you right click, you go to task. So we want to ingest our data. This is our extraction processing. When you talk about data engineering, you'll be hearing ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading, right? So now we want to, in our mini project, or in our mini work frame, so we want to extract the data, import flat file. So then expand this, then click on next. Then you need to browse to where your data is coming from. So where is our data coming from? So let's go to, I think, SQL. Okay, so let's check data. So where the data is coming from. Maybe, okay, so this is the data. So let's start from the customer. So I'll click on open. So here I'm going to rename this to customer. Then I'm going to change the schema. I'll change the schema to staging schema, which is our first layer. Then I'll click on next. I'll click on next, finish. Yeah, there's no error. The data is clean. So also sometimes you might get error while you are ingesting your data. So if you get an error, make sure the error is going to show, it is going to tell you what kind of error it is, and you have to adjust the error so that you don't have issues, right? So, and that's the first thing. So we need to ingest all the data. So like I said, we are still using the manual process. By the time we move to the cloud, I might show you how to automate this process. So I'll click on import flat file. So browse. So we have to pick it one after the other. So we have to pick it one after the other. So let's change this one to staging as well. So click on next. Okay. So let's pick task, import flat file. If you have any question, please you can ask question, and I'll be glad to answer your questions as well. So let's pick the region now. Open staging. Then let's click on next, 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 finish. Okay, so let's close. Task, import flat file. Let's do this. So I'm going to click on browse. Okay, so let's pick store. Let's click on open. Let's change this one to staging. Then let's click on next. Okay, someone said the screen is blurry. Is that true? Is that the same thing for everybody? Or is your network? Okay, so let's do the next one. So I'm going to right click on task, import flat file. Then I'll click on next, browse. Then let's load the transaction table. Faith, is the screen also blurry from your hand, or is there a network? So let's change this schema to staging as well. Then I'll click on next, 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 finish. So this one takes a little time because the data is large. So let's do the last one. Import flat file. So let's click on next, browse. So let's load this last one here. So let's change this one to transaction. Then let's change the schema to staging. Then let's click on next. Next, next, finish. Okay, so we have ingested all the data that we need for now. Because of time, let's just work with this data. So let me refresh. Now, if you go to your tables, right? If you go to your tables, you will see all the tables that we need. We can see customer, product, region, store, transaction, 1997, transaction 1998 as well. And if you look at everything, they are under what? They are under the staging. So they are under the staging. Everything is under what? Is under the staging. So you can see everything is under the staging. So this is data extraction. We have extracted our data. So the reason why we do this is because we want to transform our data, right? We want to do data transformation. Do you understand? We want to do data transformation. And we don't want to be going back to our source data to bring in that data. We don't want to be doing that because it's going to be a lot of stress. So instead of we going back to the source data every time, so that is why we have to create a layer that is going to hold the data. A layer that is going to hold the raw data before we transform it. So that is exactly why we are doing that. So now, to move on to the second layer, which is our development area. So the development area is where transformation is going to happen, where we are going to do our transformation. We're going to be doing the data cleaning in our development area, right? So now to do that, we are going to say select all into dev.content. customers from staging dot customers. So I'll do the same thing for select all from select all into dev dot products from what? From staging dot products. So we'll do the same thing for select all into dev dot regions from staging dot regions. So let's do the same thing for the last one. Select all from select all into dev dot store from staging dot stores. Okay, so you can see, so we want to migrate all the data from our staging. Not like we are migrating them, we are not moving them. What we just want to do is to have a copy. It's to copy the data. So that's what we want to do. It's just to copy the data there. So let's copy everything. So let's execute. So you can see now let me refresh here. So after refreshing, let's go to the table. You will see now that we have what? We have the dev layer now. Dev. Then we also have the staging layer as well. Good. So, like I said, we are not going to be doing transformation on the staging area, because if you made any mistakes, you can always go back to the staging area. So our transformation process is going to happen where? On the development area alone. We are not going to be doing it on the staging. So let's continue from here. So let's continue. Okay, so let's see what kind of transformation we have. So let's start from the customer table. I'll just copy the questions here. So I'll copy the questions here. Then let's move on. Let's move it here. So we want to transform the customer table. So now let's start with the questions. So the first question says, or the first transformation step says what? It says what? It says confirm data types are accurate. Note, customer ID should be whole number, and both customer account number and customer postal code should be text. So when you see this type of information, how do you even confirm how do you even check whether the customer ID is whole number and the account number are what? They are also text. So you can come to your customer table here, go to your columns. So you will check here. If you look at it, customer ID is what? Is an integer. And if you look at this our request, they say that customer ID should be what? Should be whole number, which is actually correct. It's an integer. Now, they said the customer account number and postal code should be a text or a string. So let's check it. Customer postal code. So you can see that here, customer postal code is what is an integer, meaning that it is not a text. The same thing as customer account number is also not what is also not what a text. It's also an integer. So we want to change these two data types. So that's the first thing that we need to do, and that's where transformation process starts from. So how do we transform this? How do we do that? So to achieve that, we are going to say alter table. We are going to say alter table. Please want to confirm if you guys can see my screen. Please, can you see my screen? For those on YouTube, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? I need a response. Okay, yes, okay, all right. So I want to say alter table dev dot what's the name of the table? Customer. That's the name of the table. Then we want to say alter column. We want to alter the column. Which column do we want to alter? Customer account number. Customer account number. So we want to change it to what? We want to change it to what? To voucher. So we change it to voucher. Then the next one we want to do is to what? Alter table dev.customers alter column customer postal code. Customer postal code. So we want to change this one to also to a voucher. So let's execute this. Let's execute it. So you can see command completed successfully, right? So let's refresh this. If you go to your table and you go to your customer, you will see that the customer account number have changed from integer to voucher. The same thing with the customer postal code, from voucher to what? So from integer to what? To voucher. So you can see that it has changed now, right? Can you see? So that is what we want to achieve. So now let's move on. Let's move on. So let's move on. The next transformation we want to look at here is to, but before we even do transformation, before we move on with the rest of the transformation, let's even preview the data. So let's say select all from dev.customer, dev.customers. So let's preview the data and see. So you can see the data. So this is the data that we are trying to transform. So you can see the data. So now let's move on to the next transformation, which is this. So the next one says add a new column named what? Full name, to merge the first name and the last name, separated by a space, then remove the first and the last name column. So that is a transformation that we want to do here. So we want to add a new column called what? Full name. So in this our data, we only have first name and last name. We do not have full name. So we want to create that column called full name. So once we create that column, we can now delete the first name and the last name, right? So to do that, we're going to say alter to dev.customers add. So we want to add a new column. So we'll say add full name. So let's call it voucher, and is what is 50. So let's execute this. Now, if you look at this, we have added a new column called what? Full name. So if you check it here, you have a full name column, right? And there's nothing inside the column. So we want to update this column now. We want to update it. So we're going to say update dev.customers, update dev.customers, set full name equals to, so we can say concatenate first name. So they say it should be separated by space, comma, then last name. Set full name equals to concatenate first name and last name. Okay, so let's execute this. So let's check it out. So can you see full name? You can see that we now have full name here. So we need to drop the first name and the last name. We need to drop this first name and the last name because we don't need it again. So we're going to say alter table dev.customers drop column first name comma last name. We want to draw the two columns at the same time. So let's drop the column. So we have dropped the column. So when else you run the table, you will not see that column again. You can see first name and last name no longer here again. So the only thing we have is what is the full name. Is that clear? I hope that is clear. So if that is clear, just say clear to be sure that you are following. So type clear if it is clear. And if it is not clear, say it is not clear. So I will know where to go over it again. So that is that. So please, if it is clear, type clear. If it is not clear, type not clear. Then let me know the area where it is not clear so that I can explain over again. Or I can explain again. So the second transformation here says create a new column named birth year to extract the year from the birth date column and format as text. So if you look at this column, we have birth date, right? We have birth date. So we want to extract only the year. We want to extract only the year from the column, right? So we want to extract only the year. So how do we do that? So we're going to say alter table dev.customers. So we're going to say add year, or let's say add birth year. So we call it jar. That's 4. So let's create this one, execute. Then the next thing we are doing is to update that column. Update dev.customers, set birth year equals to, so there's a function called year function, year, then we say birth underscore dates. I think the birthday is together. I think so. So let's execute this. So you can see. So let's check it. So we have the birth here. So you can see. We have the birth here. So you can see the birth here. All right. So now let's move on to the last one for this customer transformation. So create a conditional column named has children, which equals n, if total children equals to 0, otherwise y. Otherwise y. So we want to know if our customer have children or not. And they're already giving us the condition. There's a column called total children. So this total children columns means that the customer have children. If the customer does not have children, that means that the number of children of the customer will be 0. So that is what it means. So now we want to create a condition that will show y or n. Y means yes, n means what? No. So we want to create that. So to achieve that, we're going to say alter table dev dot customers, then I'll say has children, so that will be so let's say char. Okay, so we are going to say update dev dot customer set has children equals to set has children equals to what? Case when total children greater than 0, then we say y. Else we say end. Then we say end. So let's execute this and see. Okay, so let's check it out. So you can see has children. We have y. So if you want to check whether we have where there is no order by, has children, so let's do in ascending order first. So you can see all this one does not have children. Can you see? Total children is what is 0. So this one does not have children. So that's what it means. I hope that is clear. Is that clear? Is that clear? Please let me if you have any question, let's drop our question. If that is clear, so that I can move on. Please, do you have any question? Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay, I think I got yes from people. I will assume that that's clear with us. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's move on to. Um, so let's move on to the customer table, to the product table. Lizzie, you said it's not clear. Which area is not clear? Which area is not clear, Lizzie? Lizzie, yeah. Just let me know the area. If it's not clear, just highlight the area that is not clear. So let me go over it again. Okay, the last one. Okay. So the last one says, it says what? It says create a conditional column named has children, which equals n if total children equals to 0, otherwise y. So if you look at our data, in the original data that we have before we start doing transformation, we have a column called total children. We have a column called what? Total children. Now, these total children columns, we want to know if we want to indicate customers that have children, yes or no, right? So if they have children, we will say yes. If they don't have children, we'll say no. And how do we know customer that does not have children? The number of children will be 0, right? So that is how we know. Now we create a column called what? Has children. We create a column, has children. Then we update that column. So we say set has children equals to what? Case when. So in SQL, case when is like if statement in Excel. You know, in Excel, when you say if A equals to B, give me this, right? So in SQL, what we use is case statements. So case when total children greater than 0. So it means that if it's greater than 0, that means that the customer have children. And you say that then why? Else, if it is not greater than 0, return what? Return n for us. So that is how we achieve this. I hope that is clear. Lizzie, I hope that is clear now. So that's how we get this. Okay, so let's continue. I think I'll just do one more transformation with us. Yeah, I'll just do one more. Then I'll do one more with us. Yeah. Lizzie, I hope that is clear with you now. I hope that is clear with you now. Okay, so let's continue. So for the product table, right? So for the product table, just like what we did in the first table, where we confirm the product type, if the product type is whole number or not, right? So we also need to check this as well. So let's check the product table. Sorry, Faith, can you hear me, Faith? Just to be sure every other person can hear me. Faith, can you hear me? Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so let's continue. So So let's check the product table. So if you look at the product table, right? If you look at the product table, you will see that we have the product ID, and so let's check the product ID. The product ID is an integer, which is fine. SKU should be text. So you can see that the SKU is not a text. It's not a text. It's an integer. It's an integer, right? So we need to convert this. Then they said that we should also change the we need to change the product cost to what? To 2 decimal points. So we need to change the product cost to 2 decimal points. So let's review the product table. So let's do select all from dev.products. So this is the product table. So you can see that the product retail price, it has a very long decimal point, which is a float. So we want to round it to 2 decimal points, right? So that's what we want to achieve. So let's start from the first one. So let's see how this works. So let's do so we want to first change the product SKU. So I'm going to say alter dev.products, then I will say alter product SKU, then I want to change it to voucher. So let's say 20. So let's change. So let's run this. Incorrect syntax near SKU. Okay. So alter colon. So alter column. So we have done that. We have altered the column. So now let's change the these 2 columns. We want to round them to 2 decimal points. Product retail price and product cost as well. So we want to change them to 2 products. So we are going to say alter table, dev.products. Then we say alter column. Then we say decimal, alter column, products retail price. Then we say decimal 18,2. So we do the same thing for So we do the same thing for the product cost. So we do the same thing for the product cost. So let's execute it. Because product related price does not exist in the table. Okay. We are saying the name. Product retail price does not exist. Okay. So let me remove the S. I think the S is the one costing it. Okay, so this is successful. So now let's review. Let's view the table now. So you can see now that from the number of decimal points that we just have 2 decimal points now. So that's what we are supposed to achieve. So that's how you can transform your data. You are cleaning the data so that it will be more, it will be more well usage for your analysts or whoever want to work with it. So that is that. Let's look at. Okay, we are not going to look at this one. This is not part of what we want to do. So let's look at this. Step 3. So had a calculated column named discount price equals to 90% of the original retail price. So we're going to say alter dev.product had discount price. That will be decimal. 18,2 18,2. So let's add this one. So the next thing we need to do is to what? Update dev.product. Then we say set discount price. Set discount price equals to 0.9 90% times product retail price. So that's like 90% of the product retail price. So let's execute this. Let's check it. So you can see we have discount price, and this is 90% of the product retail price. Because someone asks what is 18.2? 18,2. That is the standard. The 18,2 is just the standard way of writing decimal points in SQL Server. If you go to another RDBMS, it might not be like that anyway. It might not be like that. But that's just the standard way of writing decimal in. If you do 18,4, it's going to give you 4 decimal points. Do you understand? So the number of points is going to be after your number values is what the comma means. I hope that is clear. Okay. Someone said you're not enjoying today's class. What's the issue? If you're not enjoying the class, what happened? Is it not clear? What's the issue? Is it network or what's the challenge? Vivan, what's the challenge? What's not clear? I think I've asked questions around whether you guys understand or not, so that before I move on. Vivan, what's the challenge? Okay, so let's move on. We need to clean this low fat and discount price as well. So we want to replace where we have null. Trying to join using and then I'm frustrating. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, Vivian. I think you can just join via the YouTube. If you instead of joining via the elements, I think there's another way. Yeah, yeah, just join via the YouTube. If you are not able to join via the, sorry for that frustration. I understand how it can be. Sorry about that. Oh, I think a lot of people are having that same experience. Sorry about that, Adedoyin as well. Just use the YouTube. I think if the YouTube is more stable, just stick with the YouTube. Yeah, for now. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. I think a lot of people are having issues. Sorry about that. I think I have to beg a lot of people here. Sorry about that, everyone. That's is being frustrated with the system. The 18 minutes it can contain 18 before the decimal. Okay, so let's just continue. So we want to replace the null value here with 0, right? So that the value here will be, so that the data will look clean actually. So 0 means it is not recyclable. 1 means it is recyclable. 0 means it does not contain low fat. While 1 means that it contains. While 1 means that what it contains low fat. So that's what it is. So let's quickly do that. So I'm going to say update dev.product set recyclable equals to 0 where recyclable is null. Where recyclable is null, execute. So you can see that. No. I think I've already said it. So the 18,2 is just a standardized way of writing decimal. So it's a way of writing. It can be 18 before the decimal point. Okay. Yeah. I think you are right. So like in terms of the value, maybe like millions, trillions or whatever, or billions. So the number must be 18. Then the comma is 2. It has to be 2 decimal. If you want it to be more than 2 decimal, you can put 4 or just use floats instead of putting the 2 there. So let's just use the same query here, and let's change this one to low fat. Low fat. Then this one is also low fat. Low fat. So let's check now. So you can see now that where we have null before, we are now having what? 0 there. Where we have low fat, we are now having 0 there. So that's how to clean data. So there's a lot of ways you can clean your data to make it more, more well organized or well meaningful for your data analysts to understand it. So the last one that I will be talking about. So the last one that we'll be talking about is so let's see how we can. So let's see how we can. Um, let's see how we can. So we have this. We have these 2 tables, the transaction tables. So let me quickly run the transaction table for us. So staging dot transaction underscore 1997. So you can see this data now, transaction 1997, and if I run this one, we have transaction 1998. Can you see? So we want to append these two data together. So instead of having them separately, we want to append them together. We want them to be in one single table instead of having them on a separate file. So to do that, so I'm going to union them. So we have what they call union. So union is what we use to append data, like, right? And whenever you want to union, the first thing that you need to know is that the columns headers must be the same. What did I say? The columns headers must be the same. The columns headers must be the same for you to be able to union. If they are not the same, then you cannot do union. Do you understand? So so let's union them together. So I'm going to say select all into dev.sales. Select all into dev.allsales from dev.transaction 1997 union what? Select all from this as well. So we want to union these two together. So let's execute. Invalid object name dev. Okay. I'm coming. Select all into dev.allsales from dev. Oh, sorry. That will be from staging. From staging. From staging. Okay, so now you can see now we have made the two tables together. So now we can now say select all from dev.allsales. So let's try to run this now. So you can see all the tables are now together. You can see 1998, 1997. The two tables are now together in one table. So this is how you can append, you can merge the two tables together. And these are data transformations in SQL. We have a lot of transformation process you can go through or you can do. So, but this is where we're going to be stopping tonight, right? So we're going to be stopping here tonight, and by God's grace, we'll continue from here from there tomorrow. So please, if you have any question, I just have 3 minutes for questions, and if you have any questions, just drop your questions. And if you are clear with everything, just type clear. If you are not clear, say you are not clear, and state wherever you have concerns from. So if you are clear, let's type clear. If you are clear, just type clear, please. If you are clear, just type clear. For those on YouTube, and this is where we are stopping tonight. We'll continue from here tomorrow by God's grace. So if you are clear, let's type clear. Okay, if there's no question, Faith, I don't know whether you can hear me. I don't know whether you want to pass any information to the participants. Okay, so if you can hear me, so I don't know whether you want to pass any information to the participants. I think this is where we are going to be stopping for tonight, and let's see by God's grace tomorrow if we can meet again. All right. Okay. So not clear to this class. Okay. Are they doing where exactly is not clear? Okay. So probably if you have any areas that is confusing you, right? You can always I don't know. maybe I will try and share. You can always go back to the videos. I'm very sure. Just take your time, right? Take your time. Go over the recordings. You know, you will catch up. And if it is not clear, probably tomorrow, just try to make sure that you join the class on time, and we can also look at one of the areas that is not clear with you. So have a wonderful evening and have a good night rest from everyone watching. We'll see you tomorrow by God's grace.